hopefully this time nothing stops my flow. And yeah, let's see if I'm where I want to be. Just gotta get the okay, yeah, it says I'm streaming now, so yeah, sorry I'm back. This is pretty whack. I don't want it to be like that, and hopefully everything flows now. So I don't know how it shut down, like what caused it, but I'm gonna solve it after this. I should have done it now, like with rebooting everything. Let's see. Just checking the screen to make sure it's not frozen again, that everything is working right. Uh, let's see. Yeah, it says it's running. It looks like, yeah, I'm gonna change the screen real quick to make sure it's not lagging too much. Only at 41% memory. Um, Must have been some kind of weird update it did. Never had that happen before, but you know, technology, just gotta like go with it. And let's see. Browser. Okay. Yeah, and I'm seeing, yeah, it's only like maybe a 10-second lag, so everything should be working right. All right. Sorry about that, guys. This time, yeah, if it shuts down again, I'll do a more thorough like figuring out what's wrong, but everything looks like it's moving strong. So yeah, I'm getting back to where I was. Just because I definitely want to finish this app today like I've always done. So I got to do what I got to do. And back to it. Back to the code. All right. So looking at the Word document that has got the steps in it. Okay. So should I put in the API key before I do the next step? Okay, they're saying wait, do the next step, and then put in the API key. Sounds good to me. But I don't want to do mock data though. Oh, I did not tell you that I did not want to do mock data. I just want to do this right from the start. I don't see any reason to put in mock data because if someone were going to build this, there'd be no reason to do that. No training wheels. The reason most people start with mock data is just to verify the UI. But if I'm ready to wire up the plumbing, we can do it right now. So they're saying add in the key, the API key. So let's see. All right. Can you give me a prompt to give to Claude Code to create the folder where I can just paste the API key in. Back to it. Just gotta hope everything goes right this time. No reason to stress my mind. Problems will happen. Just gotta solve it and evolve it. Okay, and then I can't show this because I can't show the API key, so I just got to change the screen. And pull up the file folder. Now notice that, like, be really careful when you're copy and pasting stuff into these files. It essentially, like, pasted the wrong thing, but it didn't really show me. So, like, if I hadn't noticed that, it would have, like, double pasted it, and I would have ran into problems. But, yeah. That is not the right API key. Well, this is super weird. This is one of those days where, like, it is being weird. Like, all these problems happen, nothing's flowing. Well, not nothing. Like, the idea and everything. Like, I feel like I have a good idea for this app. So, yeah, just, instead of doing the clipboard copy and paste, which should be super easy, actually manually just selecting the whole thing. That worked okay. Super weird, but I got it done. So I'm gonna run to the next step. Made sure I saved it. Pull a different file back up and get the terminal back on. I can go back to code. Okay, finally getting back to where I need to be. Okay. All right. So I'm giving Claude the prompt. Okay, the API key is securely stored. Now please rewrite the data fetching logic to use the Tingo fundamentals API. And I'm telling it what information to get, and then, like, where to map the response, like where to reply it. Update the UI to show real numbers and colors. saying update Apple as the default initial search. I don't really want it to do that, but whatever. I can change that later. Alright, it's working again. Come on, computer, be my friend. Okay. Oh, man. Feeling better now. Oh man, this is doing a lot right now. So usually when I put in the API keys, it's not doing this much. I'm wondering if it says it's just grabbing data, but I'm wondering if it's trying to build stuff too, since I didn't give it a prompt at the end to like stop here and not try to build stuff. But I have a question for Gemini real quick. I think what you were saying before was that basically when professional developers build something, they will build it with fake data first, and then at the very end of the project, then they put in the API key and have it switch to the real data. If this is true, let me know, and what is the reason for this? They're saying, think of it like, they're saying, yeah, that's how they do it, and think of it like building a flight simulator before I fly the actual plane. Um, 4 reasons the pros use mock data first. Speed of the vibe gives instant feedback. If I connect to the API right away, every time I save the code, the app has to call the internet, wait for the API, send the data back. That takes a few seconds. It takes 1 to 2 seconds. Mock data is like 0.001 second. Okay. Um, just makes it less time to make changes by a couple seconds. Um, controlled testing. It's hard to find a real stock that is perfectly bad in every single way just to test your red lights. With mock data, you can invent a stock called crash and force it to be red. Oh, that does make so much sense. I need to take that down for a note. So I've noticed that before, like, um, I'll search different stocks and a lot of stocks are correlated. So like if I test like Apple and Nvidia, maybe all those stocks like are all at the top and kind of give the same read. And then I might like try like 5 or 6 more stocks until I find one that's like a different read. And maybe that different read, the way it reads it out, isn't how I want it to be. Dude, I'm learning so much. Okay, I need to take that note down. So API after the build. So yeah, mock data first from now on. Test everything better, and then API at the end. Also, yeah, even more importantly, the free API keys I'm using have a limit for how many requests they can do each day. So like I could burn through that limit just from like, refreshing the browser and trying something new every time. That's so important. Yeah. All right, learned a lot, man. Today was so far I had like bigger problems than I ever faced, but yeah, learning from them. So that's just how life goes, man. Like you can't let these problems really like, problems got to be just like a learning tool showing me like what I don't want so how I can improve in the future and get to where I want to be. So, yeah. But at least everything seems like it is going right now. So, um, and also Claude is talking about it built two agents. So that's new to me. And also, if there's a problem and I'm using mock data, then I know if it's actually like the code is the problem or the API server is the problem. And I ran into that problem yesterday where like I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the API key. And if I had just built that all out with mock data first, wow, yeah, that's important. Okay. So essentially, yeah, got a new thing to update with the plan. So I already put in the API key and I already gave Claude the prompt to get the data from the API key, which it's doing right now. And basically, it has just created the Tingo API key service module. And the next steps are actually just refreshed on me. So gotta click that. Create a for check analysis logic. Create the API route handler. Rewrite the page.tsx with live data and verify the build and test. So hopefully it's not trying to do too much and I'm still doing it like one step at a time. Let me know what you think. Is this like trying to go off and like, make its own vision and like do too much from what I've already told it based on what I've told you the steps it listed are? Because I feel like that's running a long time for what I asked it to do. So it's saying the list of steps Claude just gave me is actually spot on. It's not necessarily going rogue, it's just mapping out the plumbing required to make the API key do something. Since I'm vibe coding on stream, I want to make sure it doesn't get buried in a coding tunnel for 5 minutes. And no, that's let it do what it does. I'm trying to learn. Like, um, seems like it's like checking off the steps that it's doing it. So, um, essentially, here's a breakdown of the steps. This is just the phone. The service module is the phone that calls Tingo. The forecheck logic is the brain, like the math that it's going to be doing with these numbers. The API route handler, this is the security gate that hides the API key from the browser. And the rewrite, this is the display where the numbers finally show up. Okay, so the only risk is that the Tingo's daily fundamentals data is massive. It returns a giant list of numbers. If Claude tries to write all four checks at once, it might get one of the data paths wrong. Do this to stay in control. As Claude starts working, watch the chat. If it starts writing a massive block of code, tell it. Let's take it one check at a time. First, just get the ticker search working so that it pulls the current PE and updates the sector map card. Once I see that working, we'll do the other three checks. But basically, I'm trying to keep AI on a leash. I'm trying to run AI, not let it run me. We're going to verify the sector map first. If we can get real data for one card, we can get it for all of them. Has Claude finished yet? No, it's still got to verify the build and test. One last check to do. And then hopefully the right thing will come through. Um, so then what was the next step? I feel like, so I think we did the data engine for step 3. Okay. I'm going to give, because it did so much, I'm going to copy and paste this into the LLM Gemini and ask it for a summary. All right, the launchpad moment. Claude just did a massive amount of heavy lifting, especially the server-side API route. That is the professional way to do it because it keeps the Tingo key hidden from a browser's inspect element tool. So, but before I celebrate, yeah, I learned my lesson on that. Don't celebrate until it's actually done, because as soon as I think like something's done and I celebrate, that's where the problem will come. So run the app in the cursor terminal, npm run dev. And then go to the local host. Once this is done, and check the load. Since Claude set Apple as the default, should see the gauge move immediately. Okay, local 3000 this time. So let's see if it's where I want it to be. Yeah, I mean, it's done the numbers. I think most of this is like good for like, wow, for how much problems I ran into with this one, man. It's like now it's flowing like it makes totally makes sense now why it took that long to do that, because it did like the brain, like the math. And yeah, that's awesome so far. I'm really happy with where it's at right now. um all right, sometimes it's like I get a fight in life, but just gotta have the right mindset. Abundance, like that's all part of it. Like, it's just gonna make me stronger and be where I want to be. So yeah, back to the code. What to look for, the real numbers. Yep. The date badge. uh yep, it says date as of February 19th. um Said try a different test for NVIDIA. I'm sure that's fine. I don't want to run through all my free searches for the day. So all right, we just went from a total system crash to a live data-driven dashboard in record time. I would say so. We've got a server-side proxy handling our Tingo requests, a logic engine crunching PE and PEG ratios, and a fully reactive UI. Let's see if Apple is clear for takeoff or if it's hitting turbulence. Yeah, everything looks awesome. The score that Apple got is 24 out of 100, and it says status grounding. I'm seeing numbers with color codes next to each one of the 4 cards. So I'm really impressed with everything so far. What was the next step? Hey, bro, Tech XZ, welcome to the stream. Ran into so many problems today, and I'm really happy that this step worked out, because yeah, I was just doing a lot that last step, man. I learned a lot today so far working on this app for PE ratios for beginner investors. And I'll show you the browser real quick. Essentially that's Apple right there. And looks like everything is flowing smooth again. So yeah, after this stream is over, I'm gonna do whatever I can to really analyze like what happened that it shut everything down earlier, and then when I try to start it back up, It was like lagging and stuff and freezing, but everything seems like it's moving smooth. Yeah, I bet. There were so many viewers on the first stream, and I had to do like part two and then part three, and I lost more each time. And I'm not surprised because like that's annoying to watch something and then have it freeze up and just shut down. So people probably just left and went to watch something else. So yeah, I really got to figure this out so that doesn't happen again. And it's annoying because I just got like the new setup, the new desktop, everything should have like be running super smooth. It was the first few days, and then I don't know what happened today. They were saying that AI was saying it was probably some kind of update that just happened, but I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure like in the future like no updates happen, and I'm make sure this doesn't happen again. So yeah, things can be annoying sometime, but tomorrow's another day, and I'm sure I'll just keep improving and getting better. Every day I'm getting better at this. So yeah, respect everybody that's giving help and giving strength and respect in the chats and everything, and um, yeah, keep going and keep flowing. This is the welcome to the real world moment for the stream. It looks like the logic is being very strict because Apple's PE is high compared to the current sector average, or the PEG ratio is sitting in that turbulence zone. The fact that I see real numbers and colors means the plumbing is perfect. I just built a functional fintech tool from scratch. Um, Financial tech, I think that means. So refining. I want to see what it means by the logic is being very strict first. So before I move forward, can you explain more what you mean by the logic is being very strict? Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Um, the logic is strict. It means that the app is judging Apple stock against the gold standard of value investing. For a stock like Apple to get a 24 out of 100, it means it's failing the test that a conservative investor like Warren Buffett might use to find a bargain. Right now, in early 2026, the market has high expectations, but your pilot is designed to spot risk. Here's why Apple is likely getting grounded by the logic. Okay, because I think the market does have a lot of hype for Apple, but I personally uh, do not see a lot of hype for Apple. So I think that this is pretty accurate I think this is an accurate read for this stock. But I'm gonna see why AI thinks that it's being strict. Like it's kind of like being like hard on saying like it should be higher. I think what it's saying. So the reality, Apple's current P is around 32 to 33, and it says right here on the browser. Oh, you work as a senior software developer at a bank. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm just starting. I'm just like doing this challenge, and basically a month before I started, I knew nothing about code. I just kind of like spent a couple hours a day learning the basics, everything that I could, and then I built one app, and I really enjoyed the process. I really liked it, and then I had this idea to start this. So it's really helpful, and I really like to see people who know more than me in the chat. They've helped me a lot so far, and I'm like interested to know, you know, like do you guys use like Claude Code or any kind of AI to help you with your process? Like, does your employer allow it? And what are you finding with your workflow? Like does it make things like way easier? Like where do you see this going with the future? Do you like it, or do you like it before AI where you did it manually? Like, do you find it was like, less problems? Like, that's the kind of stuff I wonder about. Okay, so the reality is right. It shows that Apple's PE is exactly what it says. If Claude set the sector average to the S&P 500 average, which is around 22 to 27, um, says the market average is 22. So, okay, so that's what it's saying. Um, oh, that's awesome. It's getting normalized. Yeah, that's what I feel like. from like the research I've done, it sounds like things are changing quick, and it sounds like in that industry, like if you don't know how to like work with AI, like you better learn quick is kind of what I'm hearing. But like I've never worked in that industry. I know people that have more on the graphic design part of it, and then like they would like hire freelancers that would do that part of it. And I've looked into hire freelancers like that before, but yeah, from what I understand, like I can see I'm getting so good at this from going to beginner. I mean, I'm still probably bad at it, like compared to like someone like you that understands it way better. But just every day I come on, I can tell I'm making so much more progress, and my apps are getting better every day. I'm understanding more every day. Still running into problems every single day, but like I'm solving them every day. There's never been one day so far where I haven't been able to complete the app I was working on. And the more problems I get, the better, I learn. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. I feel like there's a lot of potential in this. Right now, I think because I'm like an entrepreneur and I'm like been creating businesses, and my main area I would say of expertise in business is marketing. I've spent like that's the most interesting to me, and I pretty much like know so much about that. Like, there's not much more I can learn about that. But now when this came along, I'm seeing this as like the most important skill set for an entrepreneur right now, or really like anybody that wants to create something. So I see this as like having so much value, and I'm really just all in on it right now. So yeah, keep getting better and building businesses now with AI, and not needing to like hire somebody for the developing, hopefully. But yeah, I'll just go with the flow and do what I know. So um the PEG ratio, the reality, Apple is a massive mature company. It doesn't grow its earnings by 50% a year. It's closer to 10 to 13%. Um, so you're saying Claude Code is the same price of Cursor, but it has 5 hours windows for credit reset until Cursor has one more reset. Yeah, so okay, so when I started, I was advised to do Claude Code and Cursor and like kind of switch between the two of them. And the logic behind that was like, if I used Cursor, then essentially like do Cursor to try and do everything step by step, because I would learn more because it's slower and it explains more of the process of what's going on, and then switch to Claude Code like if I have something that I can't figure out. And very quickly I found myself like to where I was like Cursor was like it got to where it was too slow and I was understanding what it was doing, and I just found myself switching back to Claude Code to uh to figure stuff out that Cursor couldn't do. And I was like, okay, after a couple days of doing this, I'm like, dude, I don't really see a reason to use Cursor anymore. Like, I just Claude Code, I get it so well now. Like, I should just use it all the time. So then, I was on the main, like the $20 plan for Claude Code, and I'm doing these streams. So, like, I didn't realize how it worked with like the windows, which you're talking about, like the data windows. And I think it was like maybe the second or third day I ran into the like the 5 hour data window. And what happened was it like just stopped working like mid process of a prompt I gave it. And then that was like super annoying. I had to figure out like why it stopped. Then I figured out it was because the data window, and essentially I hit that window. So then I had to figure out like where it stopped at and like how to continue. And right there, I upgraded to the max plan with Claude Code, especially because I'm live streaming and I don't want to like, hit that data limit. And also, I found out like if you have the $20 plan, it kind of like, if there's a lot of people using Claude, then it will like slow you down. And if you have the max plan, it gives you priority for speed. And now I know that I can do the same with Claude Code and VS, which it gives me the same UI, and that's what I'm gonna do because there's no reason for me to be paying that $20 a month anymore for Cursor. but I still have like another week or two before my cursor subscription renews. So I have just not got to changing from cursor to VS yet. But yeah, it's all a journey, and I'm learning as I go, and just each mistake just is like the biggest learning experience with everything. So yeah, it's good to see that I'm on the right track, and I know like now like everyone's recommending like just use VS Code, and cursor's not necessary to pay that $20 a month anymore. So yeah, the main thing is that I got the max plan, but I'm not even using like 25% of my my 5 hour windows anymore, and like my weekly windows are at like 10% so far. So I probably didn't even need that, but now I'll know, and I've plan on like making more detailed apps like every day. So I'd rather be safe than sorry for the first month, and I'll find out after that if I like if I only use like not even half the data, then I'll probably just downgrade to the half price plan for what I'm paying right now. Uh, so I might be using it on plan mode because it consumes credits too fast. Um, yeah, so I'm not aware of that because I've only okay. So by plan mode, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but I know that there's like two different modes, and this was the mode that I was instructed by AI to do because it said like it has less hallucinations, and it's essentially like it's slower, but it gives me like more accurate like code, and then it'll explain more of like what's going on. So yeah, I guess I'll just go with what I'm doing, and then find out at the end of this month like if I should just switch back to pro or keep doing this. But I like my plans in the future for like building bigger stuff and talking to people who have built bigger stuff is they're saying that they've even maxed out the max plan. So yeah, I'm gonna see what happens, but yeah, it's all just a learning process. So I think drink some more water and get back to this. Yeah, because I've been in this business game for like I don't know, like 15 years now, and I'm pretty familiar with trial and error, and seeing how like the process goes with starting new things, and a lot of things don't work out, and just learn as you go, and trying to find a good flow and sticking with it. So yeah, I'm glad everybody's here on the journey with me, and hopefully everybody learns a lot as well as myself. So okay. Basically what I'm looking at is AI was telling me, Gemini was telling me that the score that Apple got, they think it's like being strict, and I'm looking at why it's saying that, but I mean everything it's saying for the most part is right. Like the PEG ratio, let's see, the growth versus price. Apple is a massive mature company, doesn't grow its earnings by 50% a year anymore. Yeah, so PG ratio, PG of 1.82 is between 1 and 2. So that should be right if that's right. But I'll understand this better like when I test more stocks. I was just wondering why it did this, and analysis often bake a lot of hope into Apple's future, like AI features or new hardware. See, that's what I'm saying. Like that hope and that hype, like I see through that so easily now because I've been an experienced investor now for so many years. And I understand that usually the stocks that get hyped up the most are the ones that are like, already slowing down. Like as Apple as a company, like they're saying, like, is it gonna grow 50% in a year anymore? Like very, very highly unlikely. Um, I'd say, in my opinion, I think it's more likely that Apple's price goes down um, in the future. The main thing it's got going for it, I think, is that I think it's like the top as far as like how much money is in the stock. It's like the most money. Like there's like more than $3 trillion in Apple. So like it's got so much money in it. For it to go down, it would have to like lose so much money for it to go down, but like that's the same thing for it going up. Like 3 trillion, I mean, if that's still what it is, to double, it's going to take another 3 trillion. But anyways, the strict check, if the forward PE is different from the trailing, then the trust meter turns red. It thinks the market is being too optimistic. um so if the forward PE, what people think will happen, and it's showing the trailing is 33.2 and the forward is 28.1, significantly different. I would say that that's kind of significant, but yeah, I'd need to definitely check on some different stocks for sure. If the app gave everything 100 out of 100, it would be a hype machine, and that's what I don't want. I'm trying to give tools that cut through the hype. So yeah, they're like, it's like, yeah, Apple is a great company, but right now you're paying a massive premium to own it. So it's telling the truth. And it's almost like the AI is trying to like hype up Apple, like that's being tough on Apple. Like you shouldn't like be so tough on Apple, but that is the truth. That is how I feel about that stock. So yeah, I mean, I think it's working right. Um all right, on to the next step, which is back to the code. All right, so we're on step 4. We just did step 3, the data engine. We ensured the app can read the PE and EPS numbers. And then step 4 is the individual cards. Build one card at a time, but like it already did that. So yeah, I did instruct Claude not to do this, but in this case it worked, and yeah, because what I want to do is make sure each card worked fine before I added the next one, but I mean, it seems like it's working. All right, I guess the next step is step 4. I have not given it the prompt you made yet. Originally, for step 4, when we planned this, it was to do the individual cards one at a time, but obviously all the cards are made now. So what do you think step 4 should be now, since all the cards are already made? So since the engine and body of the car are built, step 4 is all about the dashboard experience. We want to take it from a functional tool to a polished product that makes sense of those numbers. In professional software, this is the UX pass. We're going to add logic that explains why a score is low and adds the animations that make it feel high end. So, pilot UX and visual polish. So the data is flowing, 24 of 100 for Apple, but now we need to make the app feel authoritative and premium. Please implement the following. The pilot's briefing. Below the master gauge, add a text section that provides a summary based on the score. 0 to 30, grounded. Significant value or growth risks detected. 31 to 70, turbulence. Mixed signals, requires further due diligence. 71 out of 100, clear for takeoff. Strong alignment between price and performance. The search bar upgrades. Add a loading spinner SVG inside the search bar that appears while data is fetching. Force the input to auto uppercase so Apple becomes AAPL in uppercase. Ensure the search triggers the enter key, triggers on the enter key. The Y for the cards. Add a small threshold label at the bottom of each 4 cards so the user knows what the benchmark is. Motion and feedback. Add a subtle pulse animation to the status light dots on the cards. Ensure the whole dashboard has a smooth fade-in transition when a new ticker is loaded. And then stop once the UI feels like a finished pilot cockpit and let me test it. Awesome. I like it what it's doing. So back to the code. I'm already on it. Awesome. All right, now I'll be right back. All right, time to stand up again. Did I try Shard CN for UI? No, I've never even heard of it. Gives modern design to websites. I'm gonna look that up right now. What do you think of Shard SHARD CN for UI? Says it's essentially the cheat code for making indie apps look like they were built by a 50-person engineering team. It isn't a standard library where you install a huge package. Instead, it's a collection of components that you own. When you add a Shad CN button or card, it literally passes the code into the folder so you can change every single pixel. So why it's perfect for the 30 app suite. Getting ahead, I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but do some kind of suite, but I'm not sure how. Anyways, the Vercel aesthetic has that clean, dark, high contrast look that defies modern fintech. Think like Robinhood or Stripe. Okay. Okay. Accessibility, it handles all the annoying stuff like the tab key navigation and screen readers automatically. Copy and paste philosophy. Since the code lives in your project, if you want to make a rose colored button for PE Pilot, you just edit the file No fighting the library. So how does it change the workflow? Instead of building a card or search bar from scratch with Tailwind, I would just run a command like npx shadcn at latest add card input button. And Claude Code loves shadcn because it can read the component code directly and knows exactly how to customize it for you. Okay, so it makes things easier for sure and better design. Should I use it for step 4? Actually, no. Here's my honest AI pure advice. Since you've already built the custom UI for PE Pilot using raw Tailwind, switching to shadcn now would be like changing the foundation of a house after you've already painted the walls. Require a lot of deleting what you just did. So the strategy is finish this app with the current custom UI. It's already looking great and is uniquely mine. But for the next app in the suite, start with shadcn from minute 1. It will make the cockpit design step 10 times faster. So faster and better design, yeah, that sounds good. So take a note. So is this shadcn something that like is free to use and I could just use it on any project? And if so, like what extra steps do I need to take to install it? Do I just tell like Claude Code to use that? Keeps keeps saying Claude Code. I'm like, no, Claude. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, Shad is 100% free and open source. It's one of the few tools in the industry where there's no hidden fees. Awesome. It's open source and no hidden fees and no licensing restrictions. I literally own the code once I add it to the project. And since I'm using Claude Code, I don't even have to look up the documentation. I can just tell Claude to handle the setup for me. That's awesome. So yeah, just give it a simple prompt. Like basically I want to initialize shad cn UI in this project. Please do the following. And just like to run it. Why it's pro level, no bloat. Unlike other libraries like MUI or Bootstrap, it doesn't install a massive 50 MB package. If you only want a button, it only adds the code for a button. Full ownership. If you want to change how the input box glows, when you click it, you just go into the SRC components folder and edit the Tailwind classes yourself. Claude's best friend. Because the code is in your folder, Claude can see exactly how the components are built. This makes Claude much smarter at designing new pages for me because it isn't guessing what the components look like. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna try that for the next app tomorrow and see the difference. So let's see. This is done. It wants me to check this again for the changes. Okay, put in the explanation. Still showing everything before. And just looking at this, the main thing I think I want to add is like better explanations for beginners. I want to do maybe like an education station at the bottom, but I'm thinking like what could I add to these cards? So like for here, PE is 33.2, 51% above the market average of 22, trading at a premium. Okay, yeah, that's why it's red, because it's like significantly higher, like 50% higher. Yep. Value trap detector, PE of 33.2 with EPS growth at 18.3. Neither a clear bargain nor a red flag. Yeah, I gotta be explaining what EPS is. Um, Trust meter, 15.4 gap between trailing PE and forward PE. So basically, like, they expect it's going to have a lower PE in the future. Um, so I should be having to explain that, like, in the future it thinks that it will be lower. A large gap means heavy growth expectations. Be cautious. And that's good. It says like the target should be less than 5%. So then it's like 3 times what the target is. And then the PEG of 1.82 is between 1 and 2. Fairly priced relative to growth. The target should be less than 1. So it's like almost double the target. Um, do I version control the project like using Git, GitHub? Yes, I do. And I think by version control, you mean like saving it as I go. And usually I do that more often. Today it just did like way more steps at one time than I thought it would. But that's actually a good reminder. I'm going to do that right now. Um, let's see. Before I move forward, I want to push it to GitHub just to save it where it is right now. I like how it is. So I will go and create the repository and create a prompt that I can send to Claude Code to push it to GitHub. This is the PE pilot. PE ratio tool for beginner investors. Create repository. Creating. Got the URL. All right, and then it's got the prompt that I just have to post the URL link I got from GitHub. Yeah, sometimes it does this where like I try to paste the link and it just like repaste the prompt. Um, so I just paste the prompt above the link and then make sure it works and then repaste it. Because I don't know why it does that. Anyways. Here we go. There we go. Okay. All right, prompt is ready. So I can save it and make sure I got the code back. Yep. Okay. Oh yeah, and then I just gotta check the make sure it did not send the folder that has the API key on it after it's done. Yep, the env files. That's right. Yep, I definitely like the second day I was on here. So luckily I'm using free API keys right now. But the second day I was on here, I was wearing like some sunglasses that were reflective, and somebody in the comments was like, "Dude, don't wear your sunglasses while you're putting in your AIP because I can like see them off the reflection of your glasses." And I was like, "Oh man," I was like, "Dude, I never would have thought of that." But yeah, luckily it was the free key, so now I know to make sure when I'm using the paid one to be super careful. Alright, so just refreshing GitHub to see if the folders show up. And that, yeah, right? I was like, dude, how could I have, like, planned that any better for and I didn't even know. They're like, yep, that's a reveal. And I was like, oh, man. Yes, I don't see the folder here. Awesome. So it worked without pushing the wrong folder. Yeah, right? Oh, man. It's cool though, cause like I feel like I'm starting like when I first started, like half the people were like super cool and supportive, and like half the people were like, "This is never gonna work. Like you don't know what you're doing." And I'm like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm a beginner. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like that's the whole point. Is like I'm learning and I'm trying to help other beginners because when I first like tried learning, there's like a few other people that are doing like the same kind of challenge, but they're all like experienced developers, and when they're explaining stuff it's like over my head for the most part. Like as a beginner I couldn't really understand what they're doing. So I was like, dude, this would be a really good idea for me to do the same challenge more focused for like beginners who are starting from nothing, and they can just see my process. um do I know how to use the repository feature in Cursor? No, I've never used that one before. I've just been shipping it to GitHub, and then I tried Netlify, and then I ran into limit on that one, and then Vercel, and then another one that I didn't like as much, and I'm finding that I'm sticking with Vercel because I also before I used Vercel, I was going and setting each app up with what's it called, the Google Analytics, and then Vercel basically just like you can just click one button and it has its own like simple analytics. That's basically all I need for now to make sure that I can see if people are using an app and how much they're using the app. And after I build 30 apps, that's going to be super valuable to tell like which app is getting the most use. And then I can plan like the next step where I'm like gonna probably be linking these all together and making some kind of like central site that has all this information. And right now, just like all this stuff is free for everybody, all the audience. and they can use it for free as much as, like, you know, the free limits that I have each day. And then hopefully I get like some feedback in regards to like what people like and what they want to add to it. And then I'll set up like the next step of it and keep giving that out for free until like a lot of people are using it and getting a lot of value, and I feel like everything is like good to where I don't really see any more like room for improvement. And then I'll consider if it's time to monetize it yet, and then switch to the paid API. But yeah, looks like so it gives me the visibility to changed files. So I'm guessing that means like it tells me like which files changed when I'm making changes, so I can have a better idea of like what's going on. Basically, okay, in cursor right beside search button there's a repository button. Oh, I see. Okay. Let me try that real quick. Cursor right next to search button. Search agent mode. Yes, and local. All right. Oh, like the work tree. I'm thinking maybe not. Left side. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing it, but I will. I'll take a note to check that out later for sure. Cursor repository. All right. Yeah, I hear you saying left side, and I'm thinking maybe it's like my screen might be flipped from what you're seeing. Um, like my left. Um, oh yeah, okay. Must be this right here. Okay. Yeah, I found it. Awesome. That must be it then right there. And then it has like a graph and it shows initial commit PE core with Tingo integration. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I can just hover over it and it tells me like 2 hours ago initial commit. That's cool. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, I didn't even know that was there. That's awesome. And I can just like hover over each like step, and then it says like the time and what it did. Yeah, that man, I'm just getting so much better every day. Man, respect to everybody that's helped me along the way. This is awesome. Cool. So back to the file, back to the terminal. All right, so let me try that first real quick. Click on. Oh, I see. It shows the code, and then you can just like scroll down. I'm guessing the changes. Oh, yep. Layout TSX. It says what it did. So then if I click this, it'll give me a list. Like the README file that I entered then. Yep. And it shows like, that's awesome. And then I can even commit changes here. That's cool. All right. Yeah, back to the to Claude. All right, so I think I'm thinking to do the final polish. There were a few things that I wanted to add, like some more information, like an education station that could help beginners understand this stuff better. Do you think I should do that first and then do the polish? Yeah, I'll build the education station first. Um, Instead of a separate page, contextual education. Yep. They're giving me the prompt already, but what I want to do is tell them what I want to. I'll see what they recommend. To do like a question mark icon and that you can hover over and it'll explain more. That's a bit. I was thinking about just putting like extra text, but yeah, that's probably better. Keeps it cleaner. Pilot's log creates an expandable education station section at the bottom of the page. Um, with 3 lessons, the PE multiple, the value traps, why low PE isn't always good. Yeah, because these are the main 3 pain points and problems that I originally started the project with to solve. So that's a really good idea to make the education station all about solving these pain points. So then search upgrades, auto uppercase the search endpoint, add a loading spinner so the user knows it's AI contacting the tower. All right, so I just want to look back and see if I want to add anything else to that or change anything. And let's see. Yeah, I think that addressed everything that I had. So I'll do that and then check it out and then see if I want to add anything basically. All right, back to code. Give it this prompt. Yeah, get my energy moving. So reading what it added. Try it out on the local. So yeah, the trust meter, I feel like that is still not a good explanation for beginners to understand. It should say like what, cause like should say if it's lower, then that's should be like if the it's optimism if it's lower, and it's I'll ask Claude more about that, or I mean Gemini. Tells you if a stock is expensive relative to its growth. Less than 1 is the goal. Okay. Education station. PE multiple. Price to earnings ratio tells you how much investors are willing to pay for each dollar a company earns. P of 20 means the market pays $20 for every $1 of profit. A lower PE compared to the market average can signal a bargain, but only if the company is healthy. Think of it as the cover charge. You want to make sure the party inside is worth it. A stock with a PE of 5 looks like a steal until you realize earnings are collapsing. A why low PE isn't always good. The market isn't stupid. A rock bottom PE often means investors expect profits to keep falling. This is a huge value trap. The key defense: check EPS growth. If earnings are declining alongside a low PE, the cheap price is a warning sign, not a buying opportunity. So high PE isn't always bad. If the company is growing fast enough to justify it, the PEG ratio divides PE by the earnings growth rate, normalizing for speed. A PEG below 1 means growth outpaces the price tag, potentially undervalued. Above 2 means you're paying a premium that growth alone can't justify. Okay. So that one and the trust meter, I think, should be kind of make the explanations simpler for beginners. All right. So for the most part, everything looks good with the new education changes that it made. However, the question mark box for the trust meter, I would like your suggestions on how to make that explanation more simple for beginner investors. And then also in the education station, the PEG ratio, I think it should also be simpler for investing or beginner investors. And if you feel like you need to add more text, then that's fine. Give me a example of what you think would be better for both of these changes for an explanation. Yeah, very close. Have to move away from the math and move towards metaphors. That's what I'm thinking. Beginners often get lost in the forward trailing jargon. So we want to explain it like something they encounter in real life. Trailing versus forward sounds like a time traveler to beginners. Use hype versus reality metaphor. Um, the difference between what the company earned last year versus what analysts will predict next year. And change it to this compares a company's actual past results to future promises. I like that one better. The gap is too wide. It means the stock price is relying on perfection to happen. A high trust score means the company's future goals are grounded in reality, not just hype. That's better. PEG ratio. Stock's price to earning ratio divided by the growth rate of its earnings for a specific time period. Change that to think of this as checking if a car's price is worth its top speed. A low PE is great, but only if the company is actually growing. If you pay a high price for a company that isn't growing, you're overpaying. I like that better. Just take out the that car analogy. There we go. All right, so I like your explanations that you made better. I just want you to take out the car analogy for the PEG ratio explanation and now create a prompt to make those changes. Yeah. All right, I think this will be the last prompt before the UI changes. Man, this air in the Midwest, man, is dry in the wintertime. Like it was good. We got like warm up. And then today it just kind of like went back to being like below freezing again, and just got used to the finally the moisture being back in the air. Now I'm drinking like way more water, but it's cool. Hydration is the key. Gotta stay hydrated. Like I was saying before, um, especially when making like important decisions, make sure you're hydrated because I think it's like studies show essentially if you're not like fully hydrated, your brain's only running at like 80% capacity, even if you're just like a little bit dehydrated. And after spending a lot of time in mountain and desert climates, I became very aware of when I'm even just like a little bit dehydrated. And yeah, hydration is key, especially for investing, coding, catching stuff. Better to get it right the first time. All right, try this again. Check out the new explanation. Trust meter, hype versus reality, compares what a company actually earned to what analysts hope it will earn. A wide gap means the price may be floating on promises. Way better for beginners. Yes. Education station. PEG ratio, the low price is only good if the company is actually growing. The PEG ratio tells you if you're getting a bargain on that growth. It ensures you aren't overpaying for a company that is standing still. Growth is only an asset if the price is right. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Do the UI now. Yeah, notice Gemini is always coming up with these analogies, and they're very like Gemini's analogies are like really strange to me. I don't know about like maybe it makes sense to other people, but most of how Gemini like interacts with me, I like, except always trying to throw in these weird analogies is like this kind of throws off the flow a little bit. So if I've already pushed version 1 to GitHub, here's another good push. So yeah, do this before I do the UI. I agree that it's a good time to do another push to GitHub. Create the prompt for that. Alright, back to the... Oh, I'm still in the code. Awesome. Safety check, commit, push to git. There we go. Staying in the flow. One more step. And then I'll know if it's right. Okay. So I think you were saying that there was one more like polish that you wanted to do, and I just wanted to do these the education stuff first. Do you still think that we could do that last prompt for the final polish? Absolutely. Doing the education station first was smarter move because now the skeleton of the app is finished. The final polish is what turns it into a living product. Um, in the design world of 2026, the trend for fintech is glass morphism 2.0. That's a new one to me, but I am familiar with like Robinhood and most of the finance apps, and yeah, they are way better styled than like the brokerage apps. It's all about making the UI feel like it's made of physical high-end materials, frosted glass, subtle glows, and smooth micro interactions that make the user feel like they're in a high-tech cockpit. The final cockpit polish. Glass morphism style. Micro interactions add a hover glow when a user hovers over a card. The border should glow slightly. Add a loading pulse while the data is fetching. The master gauge should have a subtle breathing pulse animation. Tighten up the spacing so the education station feels like a natural part of the footer. Ensure the pilot's briefing text uses a slightly larger bold font so it's the first thing the user reads. Accessibility, check the contrast ratio on the glass cards is high enough that the text is easy to read against any background gradients. When I open the app, it should look like a $100 a month professional trading tool, no doubt, except I'm trying to put like 30 different $100 tools together and then charge people like probably, I don't know, like maybe $10 a month to like the first kind of like This is like using my business knowledge. What I want to do is like once I'm ready to like charge money, I would take like charge something really low, like way less than I think it's worth, just for like the first users. And essentially like that way I'd make sure like probably run into problems when I like get the first like users with paying and stuff like that. So I would let them know ahead of time, like, hey guys, like I'm gonna monetize this, but it's gonna be a huge discount, and if you know this way, let me know if there's any issues and problems, and then that way, I won't charge more until like everything's solid. So let's see. But yeah, that's cool that it thinks this is $100 app. I would disagree with that. I think that just this app alone, if if I didn't know how to build these myself and this were like a year or two ago before AI could do this, or even if I just didn't know how to build it myself, this is a very valuable tool, and I would pay at least like $10 a month, no problem, just for this app alone for what it does. Because I know like even for me as like an experienced investor, like PE ratio is one of the more difficult things to like go and get not only that number, but compare with all the different other like aspects of it, and then like take all that information and then like make it a like an overall score like right there. Like that's going to be a lot of work to do that every day, or whenever, how often you invest to all the new investments you're looking at, and then go over all your current investments to see how they're doing. But a lot of them like that don't move so much, like Apple. It's not that hard because you kind of have an idea. Apple doesn't really make big moves anymore that much. I mean, you never know. It could in the future. Anything can happen. Uh, yeah, I was looking into Solana. So Solana is like a cryptocurrency, but basically like Solana has its own phone, and um, essentially what they're trying to do, like you can get the phone and you can buy it with like it's like another version of Solana cryptocurrency, and then they give you like free free of that, I think that same cryptocurrency. I'm not 100% sure, but basically you can buy it for like $250 worth of this one like crypto, and they'll ship you the phone, and then the phone comes with like that much money worth of that crypto, I think. So it's basically free. And if you know like Apple, the way they do their app store is they keep like 30% of every sale from every time you buy an app. And essentially what Solana is doing, or they've maybe already done, maybe it's already set up, is once you have their phone, any app built on Solana, it's not that they don't take a cut, but the cut they take is like 1% or less. So I mean, that's like, if that took off, if people started like doing the Solana phone, I mean, not only would app developers be like, yeah, I'm putting this on Solana, like, you know, I don't want Apple to take 30% cut. What does that mean to Apple? Because what does Apple have going for it other than that iPhone? I guess the Mac computers, that's true. But yeah, just so much new tech coming out that makes me really, really cautious about Apple. And even that like the tool I just made uh was even saying like Apple's super risky, and AI tried to be like, wait, they're being really hard on Apple. Like Apple's really like a good stock, and I'm like, I don't think so. Especially for beginners, like I mean, maybe like if you're just trying to make it like a savings account, but like what's the point in that? Like it's like me, like when I first got into investing, like so many people were like, you should just buy the index funds, and I'm like, but that's not fun to me. Like that's not why I got into investing. I got into investing because I'm an entrepreneur. I research businesses. I feel like I have a very good radar as far as trends go and businesses go. as far as businesses that will do well and businesses that won't. And I want to like essentially like, you know, take bigger risks and try to find companies that I think are going to do well in the future and buy these individual companies. And I mean, I still have index funds, but that's not so fun to me. I like it's fun to me to like look at different companies, check out their price, look at different indicators to see what the indicators say, and to like try to find good deals. And that's what all these tools are about, is to try and find good deals for beginner investors. So okay, here's the browser. They're saying try it out again. Um, yep, I see the UI changes. It's like glowing and it matches the color. That's cool. It matches the color like red, like, you know, I don't see any green lights here at all. This is the best design I feel like of any app I've made so far. I'm just like graduating to like different things, getting better every day. It's crazy too, because the days that I had the most like problems, like today, um, yeah, is when I learned the most. Like I was getting frustrated a little bit with everything shutting down. I should have not tried to restart the stream so quick after it shutting down. I should have done more research, and I probably could have avoided like the having to do 3 different parts. But hey, I mean, I made it. App is working good. Like this is what I want to see. Now I just want to try some different stocks. Oh, error 400. Maybe it only works with Apple. All right, everything looks good. I tried to search a different stock other than Apple, and I got Tingo API error 400. I'm wondering, did we only program it so it knows Apple? Do I need to tell it to program like all the rest of the stocks? Water's low. Oh man. Okay, so something I wish they would have explained to me earlier is that for Tingo's fundamental data API, which we're using for the PE and PEG math, there's a specific quirk. The Dow 30 catch on the free tier of Tingo, the fundamentals API is usually restricted to the Dow 30 tickers, Apple, Microsoft. So I'll try Microsoft. Okay, yeah, I see what's going on. Okay. It's always right when I think I'm done that like some like problem I never would have thought, but that's part of the process. It happens like every time. Every time I'm like, this looks good, I feel like it's done. And then I try to put in like a stock and it's like, nope, Coinbase is not gonna work. Fubo is probably not gonna work. The stocks I'm looking at buying right now that I think have the biggest potential are not gonna work, because if you try to search a riskier or less common stock, Tingle will return the 400 bad requests because that specific data isn't included in the free trial. We want to make sure your app doesn't just crash and show an ugly error code when this happens. Instead, we want to handle the error like a pro. I'm getting the 400 error when I search for certain triggers. It's a free tier restriction. Let's make the app fail gracefully. I don't want it to fail at all. Maybe I could just put in a different API key and it would solve this. Update the API route and the front end so that if a 400 error occurs, it displayed the friendly message ticker not available in the current data plan. The free tier covers the Dow 30. Okay. Uh, Make sure that I'm not hard coding Apple into the API call itself. Okay, add a small caption under the search bar that says, try Apple, Microsoft, or V. So like, yeah. Just wish there's gotta be a way, I bet. I bet I could figure something out. Yeah, let me see if I can figure this out. Troubleshoot. If not, I mean, it's good. I just want to make sure it can show more stocks. Let's see. So before I give it this prompt, I'm basically wondering if there's like another workaround I could figure out. The first thing that comes to mind is maybe there is a better API key that has all this data. And other than that, I'm not really sure. Do you have any suggestions? Classic crossroads. Stick with the current tool and fix the errors. Or swap the engine for something more powerful. Two main options. The power swap, FMP. Their free tier is much more generous with which stocks it covers. Includes a massive range of US equities, not just the Dow 30. I'll need to sign up for a new key and have Claude rewrite the fetching logic. Do this if you want the app to feel like a real tool that works for almost any ticker your viewers throw at it. Alpha Vantage has been around forever and is very reliable, but they have a strict 5 calls per minute limit on their free tier. Good for solo projects, risky for a live app with an audience because more than 5. And I already have the FMP key. I used it on a different. I mean, it's not that hard to do, so I feel like why not make it so I can actually look up the stocks that I want to look up, because all the pretty much the 30 top stocks that it's going to have, in my opinion, are all going to be kind of like correlated and have the same read for the most part. And I'm looking at, stocks that I actually want to buy aren't going to be on here. So the free API for the FMP. But I did that reminds me yesterday. So like I used the FMP. That's right, and it doesn't include the most recent 15 minutes. Yeah, I used the FMP for like 2 projects, and then I tried using it again yesterday, and I just ran into a ton of errors. And I was hoping it was just because the way I was setting up the app yesterday that it required more of like the current information. Let me see. So I do remember that Tingo had an error that stopped me from using it. I'm sorry, actually, go back. So I did use FMP for a few apps, and then I tried using FMP for an app yesterday, and I ran into a ton of problems. And as soon as I switched it to Tingo, the thing worked really well. So the main issue with FMP was it could not get like the most recent, I think 15 minutes of stock data. I'm wondering, do you think this will be a problem for this app? FMP's free tier is notoriously laggy. often up to 30 minutes behind for price data, where Tingo is famous for its hyper-fast real-time feeds. However, for this specific app, we have a unique advantage. Price versus fundamentals. PE Pilot doesn't actually need 15-minute real-time prices to work. Saying I could use both API keys. All right, so it's saying if I still have the FMP key, give this prompt to Claude. But should I put in the key first then? So should I put in the key first before I do that? Also, I'm thinking like, what if I just add the FMP key, and yeah, it might take more work. It's okay. I have enough data usage for it. But at least that way, if I add it and there's some problem with it, like there was yesterday, maybe then it would be easier to just like go and delete the FMP key, and the other key will still be there. Let me know what you think. Safety first approach. Saying keeping both keys in the local file is the standard pro move. 8's called API redundancy. If one engine fails or hits a limit, you can swap to the other without having to hunt for keys later. Since I've had trouble with FMP before, we're going to do this non-destructively. We'll keep the Tingo code exactly where it is and just add FMP as a new service. Before talking to Claude, open the local file and add the new key. All right. So FMP. Okay. All right, it's showing me the key. As like a different label than they have. Maybe that's why I messed up yesterday, because I didn't use the label. So I'm going to ask Gemini. All right, I just went to the FMP website, and it's showing me my FMP key, and it says to basically, for header authorization, include your API key in the request header as. So I will paste that here, and let me know if I should paste exactly that into the file, or if I should use a different label, because before I was using a different label. Okay, looks like I'm going back to code. It's a great catch. The header authorization is the more secure, professional way to do it, but FMP It's actually very flexible. It also allows you to just put the key at the end of the URL. To keep things simple for your code and avoid potential bugs like the ones you saw yesterday, we'll use a query parameter method. It's the easiest for the AI to handle and less likely to fail due to a missing header error. I think I'm going to have it pushed to GitHub definitely before I do this. Okay. What to do with the label? Yeah, they're saying don't enter it exactly as they had it. They're giving me a different way to enter it. Let's see. So it's pushed. Cool. So I just need to cover up this screen when I put in the API key. All right. Just created an extra. There we go. Okay, put in the next API. Essentially, like what I'm thinking, what I'm hoping it can do is like, I want to tell Claude Code to like, if I can just keep both keys, and then like if the FMP stops working, it can just revert back to Tingo. But I'll see what it thinks. I'll see what it does. Oh yeah, just gotta save it. Alright, saved it. Now I can get out of that. Alright, go back to the code. Yeah, alright. Alright, so I just put the FMP API key right underneath the Tingo API key. What do you think is the best way to go about this? Just have Claude Code add that key and basically leave both keys in there, and then have it so it can add the rest of the stocks. Since I have both keys ready, the best way to proceed is have Claude Code implement a smart router logic. Instead of choosing one over the other, we'll program the app to be lazy but smart. We'll try to get the most detailed data first. And if that fails, like the 400 error, it will automatically switch to the second engine. That's cool. So it's saying first try FMP. If that doesn't work, then go to Tingo. Awesome. So I have both API keys. Here's the prompt. Let's make an app more robust so it can handle almost any stock ticker. Update the API route. Primary engine FMP. First attempt to fetch fundamental ratios from FMP. Second engine is Tingo. If FMP fails, it returns an empty array. Trigger a fallback switch to the Tingo API. Data normalization. Ensure that regardless of which API provides the data. It is formatted correctly for our for check logic. UI indicator. Add a tiny label at the corner of the dashboard that says data source so I can see which engine is working during the stream. But I don't want to do that because I'll just know if it's pulling up stocks that aren't in the top 30, then I would know. So I don't want to have that UI indicator. I'm thinking to delete the last step, step 5, the UI indicator for the prompt, because I would just know, like if I'm searching for a stock that's not on the top 30, then I would know it's coming from FMP. And if those stocks aren't showing up, then I would know that that it's not working and it's coming from Tingo. So I don't think that's necessary, because I think that might just confuse beginners, because they'll be like, what does this mean, FMP or Tingo? Like, it might just confuse them. What do you think? If you think this is a good idea, go ahead and rewrite the prompt to make that change. It's a very mature product design decision, thinking like a true UX designer. The user doesn't need to know it to use the tool. Don't clutter the screen with it. Keep the plumbing hidden. Here we go. Primary engine, FMP, secondary engine, Tingo, data normalization, silent fail. If both APIs fail to find a ticker, return a clear error message to the format saying ticker data currently unavailable. Please try a major US stock. So the goal is to let me search for any stock without seeing a 400 error, keeping the UI clean and simple for the user. There we go. All right, keeping my fingers crossed on this one, because I feel like this is the most complicated prompt that I've given this all day. And after the problems I had yesterday with FMP, um, hopefully it works, and I'm glad I didn't delete the Tingo key. But this has helped me a ton, because I'm gonna want to get a paid API key at some point, most likely when I'm done with the phase 1 of these 30 apps. And when I do that, by trying all these different financial APIs, I will have a much better idea of which API is my favorite for what I'm trying to do. Although I haven't tried the paid versions for any of them, I can tell, like, certain ones are better when it comes to like the chart aspect, and it seems like certain ones are better when it comes to like the pulling information aspect. And since I'm doing like a combination of apps that have like both, some of these apps I'm doing rely a lot more on the chart being like really good, and like this one, a chart isn't really gonna apply to this tool. So wow, that was quick. Clean build. Here's what was implemented. The fetches, the maps, derives EPS growth and forward PE with identical math as Tingo, treats 0 as no data, throws if both PE and PG are missing so the route falls through. The primary is FMP, secondary is Tingo, both fail, returns ticker data currently unavailable, unchanged. The analysis, no changes. The page.tsx, the front end already handles error responses gracefully. So here's the moment of the truth for if this works, then I would say it's done. And I would just want to like do the analysis and clean it up after this. So yeah, switch to the browser. Show an Apple. Let me try Coinbase. Nope. Yeah, that FMP. Well, now I know. FMP is usually good, but for some reason, like it worked before, and now it's being strange. But that's no problem. I think one more thing I want to do, the last thing I want to add is like when I type the ticker, it should say the name of the stock. Like okay. All right. Claude did that very quick, but there's some problem with the FMP key. Um, yeah, just like the last app I tried, there it didn't work basically. So what's happening is like the major US stocks are working, but when I tried like Coinbase, it didn't work and it just said the ticker data is currently unavailable. Please try a major US stock. So unless you can think of like an easy fix to this, we could not figure it out yesterday what was wrong with FMP when it didn't work yesterday, but it worked before. Let me know if you can think of an easy fix. Otherwise, there is one more thing that I want to add, and that's when a person puts in a ticker, say like Apple, and they hit enter, and then the data shows up. It does not say the name of the stock. So what I wanted to do is not just show the ticker, but also say the actual name of the stock. So just something very simple. Let me know what you think. All right. If FMP is being stubborn with coin and DAO stocks and non-DAO stocks, it's likely because their free tier is more restricted than they advertise. Yep, and that's like the main problem I had with Alpha Vantage was, you know, it said like it would like allow like certain things, but then when I tried it, it wouldn't. Instead of fighting a buggy API for hours, let's fix the two biggest problems right now. The mystery ticker will make an app display the full company name so it looks professional. And then we'll ensure the app doesn't just show an error message, but actually explains what it's doing. Awesome. Both Tingo and FMP have a profile or search endpoint that is much more reliable than their fundamentals endpoint. We can use this to grab the company name instantly. All right, step 6, identify and stability update. Add company name. Update the backend to fetch the official company name. Refine the fallback. Make the error state look intentional. Search tip, add a small subtle line under the search bar. Dow 30 and large cap stocks. Best results. Use the Dow 30. One key search. Ensure that when a user clicks enter, the keyboard automatically hides if on mobile and the data loads immediately. Okay, cool. Back to the code. Yeah. Um, yeah, so basically, we have built another financial app, and this one is good too. This one is for PE ratio. I designed it with beginner investors in mind. The first thing I did was I found the main problems or pain points that beginner investors have when it comes to understanding PE ratio. Um, so I didn't, it's pretty easy, anybody could search for a PE ratio for a stock. So that would have been just having the PE ratio wouldn't have been any different than a Google search or what searching it on AI could have told you. So what I did was I went and addressed not just the main issue that beginners have, but I know this is also issues for more than just beginners. So it addresses the top four issues that beginners have with understanding the PE ratios. And it didn't just bring up the PE ratio, it brought up four different aspects of the PE ratio. So it's showing let's see, I'll put it back for a second. Uh, Showing the sector map. So it's showing the PE ratio, what it is, and how it compares to the market average, which is really big for understanding if that stock is a deal compared to say Apple. How much of a deal is it compared to the rest of the tech stocks? And then it's going to show the value trap detector, which is basically what the PE is, also adding the EPS growth. So it's telling you a big problem for beginners is sometimes stocks have a really good PE ratio, but if you actually dig into the company's financials, you would find out that the company's not growing and it's slowly going out of business. So if you don't know that as a beginner, most beginners don't understand that. This is explaining that to you. So then we got the trust meter, the which is basically there's trailing PE, which is what the PE is, and then it looks at the forward PE, which is what analysis predict using math basically to think it's going to be in the future. So this gap between the actual the trailing PE and what the analysis predict gives a lot more context to actually the PE ratio and whether it's helping you to make a decision whether to buy. Then there's the growth filter. The PEG is 1.82, and it's telling you it's between 1 and 2. And it says at the bottom the target is you want it to be less than 1, which would give you a green light. And each one of these has a question mark you can click to get more detailed information for a beginner to understand this. So there's the growth bargain filter. Yeah, and then we got the education station. Just gives more information, very basic stuff. So beginner can really I mean, this is 5 minutes. A beginner could come here and know nothing about PE ratio stuff, how it affects a stock. And I mean, if you wanted to figure that out as a beginner without this tool, from what I understand, it'd be easier, like I was saying, just to get the PE ratio. But then to know all this other stuff, which is super important, that's going to take a lot of work. And even for, I mean, I'm seeing this has value to not just beginners, but I designed it for beginners in mind. So yeah, that's that. Going back to the code, and let's see here. Um, yeah, in the code. Just doing like the last simple thing. Like I'm just adding like basically so it shows the name of the stock and not just the ticker when you search it. And then if you do get an error, it just like makes the error easier to understand for beginners. And basically because this is the free tier, it's only going to work for the major, like the top 30 major stocks. But when I do in the future go through all the different APIs, try them all out for finance, and get all my phase 1 30 finance apps done, then I can just pick an API, get the paid tier, go back and just change all the apps so that they have the right paid API in them. Or who knows, maybe I'll do it differently, but I'll just get the paid tier, use my favorite API, and then or the one that would make the most sense for whatever the next step is going to be. And who knows what that is. I'll just have to see how this all plays out. Not try just like investing, not trying to predict the future, just going with the flow and doing what I know, and then whatever happens, I'll just like react to that. So see how everything's working once I get all these 30 apps done, and then I'll just take it from there to the most logical next step, which I'm sure will come to me, and it always does. Just doing things one step at a time. That's like, I feel like creation and in business and like vibes with anything is like, do what you love, live the life you love the life you live, give thanks, and then you get a good idea, start it as soon as you get it, as soon as you can, and just start that first step. Don't even worry. Just have a goal in mind, what you want to create. Got the idea, you got the goal. Make it simple. Start that first step. You won't see the next step until it's time. And when that next step reveals itself, then you just go with that and flow with that. And just try to stay in the path of least resistance. Okay, so it's saying it should work now. So I'm going to go back to the browser. And I'm going to, first I'll do Apple again. Does not say Apple. But that's not a big deal. I mean, people know if they're doing that, that's Apple. So like if I try Fubo, ticker data currently unavailable, please try a major US stock. Okay, I guess that's what it's gonna have to be for this one. There's no real good way to find these other stocks, but it does, like, for the major stocks for beginners. You can try that out, and it will be a massive help in your understanding, if anything, even if you're not looking to buy. Because, like, I mean, I'm just looking up the 30 major. I'm going to try some of these 30 major stocks real quick. Because I'm guessing I think all these major stocks are really kind of at their limit of where their growth is. And unless more money becomes printed out and just pumped into the stock market for the sake of making these prices go up without the business actually generating the revenue, I don't see these stocks going up. And if that happens, that's just going to make inflation go up more. So is it worth it? Who knows? I'm not trying trying to predict the future. I'm just trying to understand how the economy works and what causes what to happen. So here we go. Major 30 stocks. The Dow 30. Oh, Nike's on there. That's a good one to check. Okay. So I see one thing, but Nike's not giving me the trust meter data. On another one, Amazon. Guess that's not a major 30. Did Visa could do Nvidia. That's a big one, I think, for P. What? Guess that's not. Huh. Alright. Yeah, just noticed something, so. Alright, it made all its changes. So, like, Apple is still working. I tried Nike, and it mostly worked. It didn't have, like, one piece of data for one of the cards. But then I'm trying, like, Tesla, and I'm trying, what else did I try? I tried Nvidia, and those gave me the error message for try a major US stock, which those are definitely in the Dow 30. So I'm not really sure what's going on here. Let me know what you think. It knows. Actually, there's a very specific reason why Nvidia and Tesla are failing while Apple and Nike are working. It's not a bug in the code, it's a Wall Street technicality. The Tingo free tier only covers the Dow Jones Industrial Average Dow 30. Apple and Nike are both currently in the Dow 30. Nvidia and Tesla are massive companies, but as of today in 2026, they're not in the Dow 30 index. Well, the website I just looked up was not the Dow 30 website, so I guess I can't trust it then. Anyways, Tingo API is very strict. If it's not on their specific list of 30, it returns a 400 error. So, saying do a new prompt to, before fetching ratios, use FMP to get the official company name. That's not a big deal at all. Try WMT because they're saying that one's on there, so. Okay, yeah, I guess they're right then. Yeah, so some of those stocks I thought were in the Dow 30 are not in the Dow 30. But yeah, like I was saying, like all these stocks in the Dow 30 are, which are like mainly people's like, 401ks with the index funds are going to be like the Dow 30. So it's going to be, those are going to be the stocks that have the most money in them, the most volume, that have the biggest impact on what, you know, the DAO is and what people's like 401ks are and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, all these, this is good to know as a beginner investor. So anyways, I think I just need to push it to GitHub again and do my analysis. So yeah, I'm gonna push to GitHub. So basically, learned a lot today. The API keys are not always accurate. It sounds like what happened is after after like Vibecoding came out, and now like, you know, anybody can pretty much go do this. The API, all the financial, at least like I only know financial APIs because I'm only doing financial apps right now. I did like the first app I did wasn't a financial app. I was trying to use like the city of Chicago's API to find like the closest free parking spots, and that turned out being really difficult because like they changed their parking zones, so then like it would make the app go down each time. But anyways, for finance APIs, basically what I found is like they're quickly like rolling back a lot of their free tier stuff. Must be because like they're getting a big rush of like new API calls with people that are setting up financial apps now that like, you know, you don't have to just be a coder. You can be a vibe coder now and like build whatever you want. Yeah, so now what I want to do is essentially would like to do my analysis, and then I'm going to push it over to Vercel and install tracking so I can see how much people are using it, and then yeah, go from there. So for my analysis, this has helped a lot. Here's what my analysis is that I've been doing, and I'll just keep doing this as part of my system until I get to the point where I'm like always getting back the same response that essentially I'm good. So what I'm asking is I'm analyzing for improvement. Is this app over engineered or is it under engineered, and why? So here we go. All right, now that the app is done for right now, I want to do an analysis for improvement. I want you to tell me if the app is over engineered, under engineered, or why. First, give me your opinion and then create a prompt that I can give to Claude Code for it to do its own analysis. So yeah, I didn't start doing this until this analysis until I think yesterday. The day before that, I did like something similar where I just like kind of asked it if there was anything else I should do, and it was like, well, there's a lot of extra code from making changes that doesn't do anything you can clean up. And then I was like, okay, well, I thought like, what else can I do? And I try to do like when I'm changing my systems, I try to just like focus on one thing at a time when I'm adding something. So I'm just going to focus on this part for now for the analysis, and then once this is down, then I'll go deeper in my analysis. So in Gemini's honest opinion, the app is currently perfectly engineered for its purpose. It isn't over or under. I didn't build a complex database or subscription system yet. It's not under engineered because I handled the API fallbacks and created a glass UI that looks better than most professional tools. Fit the Goldilocks zone. So why it's not over engineered, I kept the tech stack light at Next.js and Tailwind. I didn't add redundant libraries like Redux or complex state management for a single app dashboard. Why it's not under-engineered. Most beginners would just let the app crash on a 400 error. I built a smart router that attempts multiple sources and fails gracefully. The vibe factor. The education station turns a raw stock screener into a financial mentor. This is a product-led growth strategy, not just a coding exercise. So here's the prompt for Claude Code. Request for technical audit, PE pilot version 1. Do code cleanliness, are the API routes and services following DRY don't repeat yourself principles. Scalability, if I wanted to add 5 more financial metrics like debt to equity or dividend yield, is the current 4-check architecture flexible enough to expand? Performance, is a smart router logic efficient, or are we making too many unnecessary fetch calls that might slow down the user experience? Improvement suggestions, give me 3 high impact technical improvements that would move this app towards an enterprise standard, and format the response as a developer's report card. Sounds good. Getting this to Claude. Here we go. Oh, weird. It's like it just restarted or something. Oh, I see what it did. Yeah, it looked like it restarted, but it compacted the conversation. So it must be, I've never seen it do that before. It must be because just like data, and the conversation got longer, and it's giving me like keys I can type if I want to go back and see the history. That's not necessary. I got it all saved on the live stream, so it's so awesome. I can go back and check my process at any time and hit rewind. Okay, looks like final grade B+. Not bad. I'm going to, this is a lot, so what I'm going to do is copy and paste the developer's report card into, oh, okay, code cleanliness B+. Scalability B, performance B-. That's because of they're saying I got 2 API keys instead of 1. That's all I really needed. So yeah, mainly it's saying like, yeah, I'd have a better score if it was not for having that extra API key that probably like doesn't even do anything. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna copy and paste this into Gemini. And Gemini will essentially summarize this. All right, that's a fantastic report card. Claude just gave me the senior development treatment. It's honest, it's technical, and it actually points out a few things that could be considered bugs. Like the score brand inconsistency where the server and client are disagreeing on what a good score is. So Gemini is saying that Claude is right on the money. B plus is a very fair grade for a B1. The security critical fix. Removing next public for the labels for the API key is the most important thing. That is very good to know. I'm very glad I did this. Why would they even tell me to put next public in front of the key if it's going to make it public and they know? Man, you got to catch API or AI sometimes. They will remember certain things certain days, and then other days it's like if you don't know to check it. Okay. Right now the API keys are public, but good thing the website's not live, and the API keys are free anyway. So, the logic fix, the score band bug, 72 being both clear for takeoff and turbulence ahead, is exactly the kind of thing that users make lose trust in financial. Okay, so it's saying that if that speedometer gauge hits like the numbers where basically like it shifts from like one read to another, that it noticed that on 72 it gives both, because it's like right on the border of like clear for takeoff and turbulence ahead. It's going to give both, and that's going to be confusing. So parallelizing the calls will make the app feel noticeably better. So since this is our final push for app 1, let's have Claude fix these report card issues in one go. This will move the app from a student project to a professional tool. So we got the prompt. The senior dev refactor, final production polish. Let's address the feedback from the developer's report card to reach an A grade. Security fix. Take the next public out of the API keys. Fix the scoring bug so that when it hits those border numbers, it doesn't give both reads. DRY refactor. Create src utils.ts folder. Extract the derived metrics function to handle the EPS growth and forward PE math. Use this shared utility in both FMP and Tingo. API keys, performance boost. In route.ts, use promise all settled to fetch the company profile and the ratios at the same time rather than waiting for one to finish before starting the other. Type cleanup, export the types. Stock data check result from single source so they aren't duplicated. Secure the keys, fix the logic bugs, and speed up the data loading. There we go. It should be, who knows? I'll find out. All right. Yeah, and if you were paying attention last night, I was talking about trade. I was looking at crypto, and I was looking at because this is crazy too, because like the app that I made was all about it's called the Steel Walls, or no, what is? Yeah, I don't remember the name of the app, but it was basically like an app that showed support and resistance on a chart. And we were talking about how like um it's a big like buy signal when a stock price breaks resistance, meaning like there's like a ceiling of like where the price has been hitting over time and like bouncing back down. And when it breaks that, usually it means it's gonna like go up to the next level. So there's a big like, for like traders, like beginners shouldn't be trading, but like basically exactly that happened with Bitcoin. It was bouncing around in a range, and then like I saw it hit, like I'd been like making small trades when it was hitting the bottom of that range. I was getting in pretty good at like the bottom and just getting a real small move and making some profits, and leaving a little bit just in case it like went up and broke out. And what happened was it broke out last night, like, but I missed the move that day. And I was like, okay, here's a good thing for like, because we were talking about FOMO. That was a huge thing about that chart. FOMO is basically fear of missing out, and a lot of investors fall in the trap of like media hyping something up, looking at a chart and seeing that like the price just went up a lot, and that just causes people's brains to think like, oh man, I'm missing out. I gotta buy it now. It's already gone up a ton. Whereas like you want to be buying at the bottom of a range, but that causes your brain to think, oh, look how down this stock is. Like, and usually that's when the media is like, this thing is down so much. This company's having all these problems. Like, it's probably gonna go out of business. So like, makes you think, oh man, I better sell when you should be buying. Gets you to do the opposite. Well, anyways, I was like, okay, this thing just broke out. My brain is telling me, oh, this is a breakout, but I know, I'm like, this is trading. I missed the move. There's always going to be another trade. It's way better to like wait and get in a good trade. Just like with investing, if you're like beginner, it's way better to wait. If you see like you missed something and something's already taken off, don't worry about it. There's always going to be another opportunity. Like probably even the next day. Way better to like miss out on something and save your money than like get in late and then like lose. So, anyways, that's what I was saying. I was like, I bet you there's a very good chance this is gonna, it just broke out. It's a very good chance it's gonna go back down and test support. So I was like, I left it alone. Woke up this morning and essentially, yeah, that's what it did. It went back down significant amount, and I'm glad I made the right decision. So I like was able to buy back in when it did that, and it's still like not going straight up. It's still like still doing some weird stuff. So I got in, I made like a good trade this morning, real quick, and then it just like I was hoping it would like keep going up, but no, it broke back down, and it's still doing some weird stuff. But anyways, I just looked and noticed that it like broke back down again. So I was like, yeah, good thing I got out of this trade this morning. It didn't like just let it ride like it was all before. So okay, it's saying everything is done, and it wants me to manually go into that local folder and change these API keys. So it fixed the security, the scoring bug, fixed extracted derived meters, and fixed performance, fix the types, and I just need to change the labels on the API key. I'm just gonna copy this, give it to Gemini, see what it says, and then go in there. I gotta change my screen so that I can go back in and change the API key. Okay, This is a clean sweep. You just completed what professional developers call a hardening sprint. By moving the API keys to the server side and fixing that scoring logic, I've officially graduated this app from a cool demo to a legitimate, secure piece of software. I now have a production-ready fintech dashboard that identifies value, uses real math to separate hype from reality, teaches beginners, includes an interactive education station, is fast and robust, uses parallel fetching and a dual engine API feedback, is secure, protects your professional API keys from the public. So now I just need to update the folder. I'm gonna Apple. Uh-oh. Let's see. So I just tried searching for Apple again, and it says ticker data currently unavailable. Please try a major US stock. So I don't know if that cleanup like broke something. Let me know what you think. Yeah, that's one thing I've learned really quick about building is never congratulate, like in sports, like even if you're up by like 10 or something and there's still 2 minutes left, you never want to act like the game's over. So many times you see like teams up big in halftime and they're like, yeah, like we're winning, and they go in, and then the other team's like super hungry and like they come out like super charged up, and the team that's up really big ends up losing because they celebrated too early. So anyways, classic last minute bug. Happens during major refactor. Don't worry, this usually happens for one or two specific reasons when you move API keys from public front end to the secret back end. They think that's what it is. So I haven't done that yet, so I should do that real quick first. Okay, I gotta remove that next public prefix. That'll only take 2 seconds. Done. Okay. Here we go. Oh, they're saying first try to just try it after I change the API key part. So I'll try that first. And they're saying it might work now. Yeah, that was it. That was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. Awesome. Okay. So saying I should also restart the dev server just in case. But I'm going to ask it. Okay, I went and deleted the public part of the API key, and I tried the site again, and now it's working perfectly. So does this mean that I should still like restart the dev server or do any more prompts, or do you think that is good? It's working perfectly. I'm officially in the clear. It's done. Just got to do the last few steps to make it live. So before we call this a wrap, just do these 3 quick things. The non-doubt test. Search for like AMD that's not on the Dow 30. Yep. Yep, it says best results, $30 in large cap stocks. Check your browser's inspect tool. Look at the console tab. Should not see any errors about API key missing. Nope, I don't. That's good. Push to GitHub. Final step is to push to GitHub. Yeah. Well, not the final step, but at least for... Actually, I'll never say final. So, just built a production grade app in record time. Went from a broken API 400 error to a secure multi-engine glass morphism dashboard. And yeah, I like the design on this better than any other app I ever made. And possibly, like, I can tell the apps, each app I'm making, the function is getting more and more advanced each time. I'm getting better at, like, sticking to the actual problems. Like, just doing this every day is helping me so much to keep my mind fresh on how this works when I run into problems. You know, it's like, oh, I just ran into that problem a day ago or 2 days ago, so, you know, I still remember, it's still fresh in my mind on how I had to fix it. So yeah, make sure that it's in, all the files are in GitHub, yup. So now, guessing the next step is to, go to Vercel. And add a new project. The PE pilot. Import. All I gotta do is add the environment variables, which are the API keys. So I gotta change the screen real quick. And just gotta put in first the key label and then the value. The actual key. And add one more for the second key. And though didn't work so well. So if you're doing finance apps, FMP advertises itself as being the best in as far as daily free like calls or searches basically. And for the first app or two I used it for, that made sense and it worked. But once I tried putting it on the third and fourth app, it just failed. And also, the main reason it failed, this one does not give you that FMP. It won't give you like the most recent data. So like when I was doing the charts, that would mess it up because I was like trying to get all the data. But Tingo is my favorite so far, mainly because the range of data you get. Tingo is going to give you like, I think it was like 30 years of data. Most of the other ones only give you like 5. So yeah, I just put in those keys and I hit deploy. It's deploying to Vercel. And then I'm going to click it to add tracking. When I add tracking on Vercel, is there anything I need to do on Claude Code? Okay, it's showing the app here in Vercel. Congratulations. It's showing up. Just need to go back to the should call it back to the project. I'm at my dashboard showing all the projects. Notice with Vercel, sometimes it like takes a minute to update. Yep, I just had to refresh it. So actually there is a small handshake I should do to make sure Claude Code is aware of the new tracking. Since I moved the API keys to the server side and finished the hardening of the app, adding tracking involves adding a new package and a component to the code. So yeah, just got to go to Vercel, click on the project, and then there's an analytics option at the top, and just click enable. So much easier than Google. What is that called for tracking? Mind has hit a blank. What is that? Google. No, not Google Trends. Google Analytics, duh. GA4 is what it's called. GA4 is better for like if I actually like, or once I actually monetize it, to just set it up for like the whole project, because it'll take longer and be more steps, but it'll help me more if I'm actually running paid ads. But I don't need to do that yet. Right now, all I'm trying to do is just see like which apps are being used, and how much, which app is used the most, like what people are finding the most value out of. So yeah, I just got to give it this last prompt to hopefully integrate the tracking. Code window. So yeah, you can see right here, add Vercel tracking and analytics. It's got to install, do an update, context update, check env variables, environment variables. See, like I didn't even know these terms, like so many things I'm learning, man. So many things I didn't even know just like 2 weeks ago. So I just stay in the flow, keep running into mistakes. And I'm thinking, this is day 11. By day 30, like I should have the system down, the flow down, be getting better every day, not running into any errors anymore. Well, that's probably like something that always going to be, especially if I'm constantly improving every day and making things better. There's always going to be errors, but at least I'll understand like this well enough to where I feel like I'll be ready to take the next step and start building things that are much more complicated. And yeah, if I hadn't done this first phase, I think of starting with simple apps and just kind of like upgrading each day to a like more difficult app, and just try to start with like a very difficult project. So like I built websites, but not like with Claude Code. Like I just had very simple like AI like build me a website, and it was like very, very simple and stuff. But like, yeah, I've still got more to learn, but all done, ready to commit and push whenever I like. So push to GitHub. It's fermenting. Yeah, so I'm going to what do I gotta do. Okay. Yeah, analytics and speed insights will activate automatically once deployed to Vercel. No additional config needed. Awesome, it pushed it. So yeah, I'm just gonna pull up the actual site. In the browser stream. Sure it's working. Weird. Oh, I must have. That's strange. It's giving me two different domains. Yeah, I gotta find out what's going on with that. They both work on this other browser, but when I try to put it, okay. Got to ask Google about that. Or I mean Gemini. Okay, so everything is supposed to be done. When I'm in Vercel and I click on the project, it's showing two different domains now, which is kind of strange. I've never seen it do that before. It says source, like the top one is the main, and then the bottom one just has some like numbers and letters, and it says feat secure v1 release with private environment variables and performance optimizations. Well, anyways, I tried copying and pasting that that URL into another window with a different like that has no Google profile signed in. And when I tried putting in that other window, it took me to a screen that wants me to log into Vercel. So I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's never really done that before. Let me know what you think is the problem. Why are there two main domains? Or two domains. The main domain is the permanent address. It always points to the most recent official version I've pushed to the main branch. The deployment URL, the preview, this is what you see with the random numbers and letters. Okay. Vercel creates a unique, unchangeable snapshot for every single push I make. Okay, so I pushed it and then I made those changes to do the tracking, and then I pushed it again. The cool part, I can go back to the exact URL a year from now and see exactly how the app looked at this specific moment in time. So like in the future, as I upgrade this, I can go back to like old versions and like compare it. That's cool. Why it's asking for a login. Vercel recently started enabling deployment protection by default for many accounts. Assumes that if you're looking at a preview or a development link, the ones with the numbers and letters, you're a developer and want to keep it private. How to fix this so anyone can see. That's what I want to know. Yeah, because both of these links have the let me try just like opening the project again. Oh, I refreshed it and now it's showing me this domain. Let me try this one. There we go. Yeah. Figured it out before I even had to keep reading. Vercel is actually being a bro here. It's creating a time machine link for every change I make. The reason it asks for a login is because it wants to make sure my unfinished work stays private, but for the world to see the final product, we just need to use the main production link. Yeah, so for whatever reason, it must not have updated yet with the main link. And it was only showing me like the two links that were like the snapshots. So I just basically like went back to my dashboard and refreshed it, and it was showing me the right link, so you guys can see that it's working now, and it's working like it's supposed to. Education station for the nation. Good vibrations. Vibe coding getting better every day. Just how I stay. Just another way to get this business going and flowing. So I'm knowing that it's going to be abundance. Everything's going to keep getting bigger and better. And I hope you guys got some value off of what I had to tell you. And, you know, go with the flow. So just checking over the blueprint, the problem, build the vibe, name the app, the build plan. This time I did a new PRD file, broke it down into steps, created the files, style MD folder. I skipped that one today because it was a new step I was going to add, but I didn't understand like you're supposed to just add it in like a main folder so that it's like a style not for each individual project but like for every project I'm doing. So I'll do that next time. So then I built it, tested it locally on my computer, analyzed it for improvement, shipped it to GitHub, sent it to Vercel, installed tracking, just did the live test. The link is up there. I'll make sure that the link is on the description for tomorrow when I start up. And yeah, that's what's up. So now you know, and that's good. And give thanks to everybody, all the viewers. You know, I'm letting you guys use all this stuff for free. Use it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're getting value out of it, what you like, what you don't like. I'll change it based on that. Yeah, I feel like this is like, these are very valuable tools. They're definitely worth money, but yeah, you guys are awesome for being here and watching all this. So all this is free for you guys right now until I get it monetized. And even then, I'll give all you guys a discount. Like when I first get it set up and monetized, like a huge discount. Until like the massive starts coming through. So yeah, you know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe. Until next time, I'm out.